Earlier, I spoke to the CEO of Kari Assets Management Limited, Johnson Chukwu, and I began by asking him how significant the GDP growth is to the nation's economy and what factors led to this growth.
Ordinarily, one would have said that it was an impressive growth because moving from a growth rate of 0.51% in the first quarter of this year to a growth of 5.01%. I mean, moving from 0.51% to a growth of 5.01% was quite significant. But the key thing, like you asked, what are the factors that underline that growth? The growth was largely from what you may call base effect, from the fact that the GDP figure in second quarter of last year contracted by 6.1%. So moving from a period where there was almost total lockdown of the economy to a period in the current year where economic activities are resumed. So you are measuring a base that was almost zero with a base that had some economic activities. And that's why we saw such material increase in GDP growth rate, because of the impact on the economy of the contraction we recorded in the second quarter of last year.
Now, a closer look at the report shows that some industries in the non-oil sector reversed roles. Some who saw an increase in 2020 declined in the first and second quarters of 2021. What do you make of this?
Okay, if you look at the ICT sector, we've seen, like you rightly pointed out, we've seen a consistent decline in the growth rate. And I think it has to do with the policy environment. One part of it could be related to security issues. In the Northeast, I know a lot of their facilities are actually attacked regularly, frequently. And I think that may also be happening in the Northwest. But beyond that, we also have an environment where some of the policies of the government are constraining expansion of further investment in that sector. We saw the issue of suspension of registration of SIM cards, which led to a reduction in number of active lines. Of course, a reduction in active line will mean that the level of service, the volume of services will decline. So you have to relate with that. I did mention earlier that the trade sector has been in recession for more than 3 years. And what happened in the second quarter of this year, you are comparing trade activities in the second quarter of this year with trade activities in the second quarter of last year. And if you recall, in the second quarter of last year was when the economy was almost on total lockdown. People were not going out. Trade, we are restricted to very essential commodities. And so we saw a very slow growth in the trade sector compared to what we have now.